Hey everyone, this is Arnables98, and completing our little group of miners is D-16 or Megatron from Transformers 1. Once again, please go watch the movie if you haven't, it's amazing, and this video will be spoiler free, but no guarantees that my next one will be. And this build is quite special because the last time I made a non-G1 Megatron was back in 2017 with Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. And I guess it makes sense because he's been absent for the past 2 live-action movies, so here's another Megatron finally. This guy was really fun to design. He wasn't as hard as Alita to figure out, but it's just that I really wanted to make sure he was on par with Optimus. And of course, if you want to build him, there are PDF instructions on Rebrickable. The link is in the description below. But before you build him, please know that I will be making the final version of Megatron from the movie. So if you want to hold off and prefer that design, I suggest you just wait a little bit. And him and Optimus I'll be making their final forms, which will be my next video. And let's start with this tank mode here. I really like how this tank mode turned out. It definitely reminds me of his Revenge of the Fallen design, especially with the exposed treads in the front. And it's pretty solid looking too. Beneath the details here, you see the large exposed treads. These are obviously the legs, and these are obviously the hands. Unfortunately, I couldn't really disguise them as the treads because I was mostly focusing on the robot mode. And even worse is his head is just chilling here, but I think that's alright. Unfortunately, this mode isn't exactly the most sturdy. You'll see some parts kind of flex and stuff, but coming to the bottom here, he actually doesn't rest on these 2 rear treads, but actually this kind of cheater piece here, which is actually his butt plate. So it's very interesting. While he doesn't feature any rolling treads, you can actually rotate the tank turret here. It rotates at this upper part here and can spin a full 360, or you can just move the barrel around too. For size comparison, here's D-16 with a minifigure and Ravage, with the Studio Series Optimus Prime, and here he is with the LEGO version of my Orion packs, and you can see Orion is a lot more compact, while D-16 is a lot more spread out and larger, and this is more apparent in the side view. And bringing in Alita 1 and Bumblebee, you can see this crew is ready to roll out. Now let's get to the transformation. It's pretty bizarre actually, but also very fun. here's D-16 or Megatron in his robot mode, and this is easily the best robot mode I've made for my Transformers 1 builds. And of course I based him off the YOLO Park as well as the 3.0 models as you see here, and he comes pretty close. Yeah, this is basically just a G1 design, just with an added backpack. And taking a look at his head sculpt, I think it turned out really nice. The top might be a little too flat, but if I used the boat stud, his head would look really squished. And you got the rounded shoulder pads as well as the blocky chest. And I really like these hip panels here. They kind of hang out like he's a non-transforming model. And then the blocky legs are very cohesive. Back is accurate as well. The whole turret kind of collapses without using parts forming, which I'm very happy. The little tip kind of sticks out, and if I made it longer to better match the tank mode, it would just have a big turret hanging out the back. And in the back of their legs are clean as well, and I like the little circle details. Those are fun to add in. And he's very articulate. There's an extra T-joint here, so he can look pretty far up and down and rotate. And the shoulders are on, just like with Prime, he has an extra butterfly joint, as you saw for the transformation. And then the shoulder pads can move out of the way and rotate. And he technically has like a bunch of joints here for the transformation, but I would just use this as the elbow, and this is the bicep. And of course, wrist and fingers. And then he does have some waist articulation, as well as a little bit of an ab crunch. And for the hips here, you can move the panels. In order to gain access to the hip articulation, you have to angle it like that. And now he can kick pretty far and bend 90 degrees at the knee here. And he has a very good range of the ankles here. And what's interesting is this ball joint required for the transformation that kind of tucks back into the leg still allows a decent ankle articulation, since there are two ball joints actually, so they're very sturdy legs. It's a warning, some of these joints can be a little loose over time, especially for the bicep here, as well as the lower knee down here, so just pay attention to that. For accessories, before we get to the obvious one, opening his chest here, as you saw during the transformation, he actually has his transformation cog. And if you really want, you can just pop it out. I'm not sure why you would want to, but it's a cool little feature I was able to fit in. And then you can just close up the chest. And of course we have his most iconic weapon here, the fusion cannon. And I really like how I was able to get the different circular shapes onto it. And this one actually just tabs right onto his right arm, pretty sturdily like that. And he passes the superhero landing pose really well. And you can get him to some very nice poses with these cannons. For a size comparison, here he is with Ravage and a minifigure. Next we have the Studio Series Deluxe Optimus, as well as a high-grade Gundam Vidar. For my builds, here he is next to his buddy, Orion Pax. And this is really cool, but these two share a lot of engineering, especially with the upper body and legs. You can see Prime, of course, has a similar butterfly joint and the shoulder joint, as well as opening chest. The central core of the body actually shares a lot of similar dimensions and parts. And also the legs as well, in order to get this snot look. It doesn't look obvious, but they're kind of different like parts layered on top. So I guess they really are built like brothers. Bringing in B127 and Alita 1, our little band of miners are now complete. And these four scale really well together. Megatron is, I think, supposed to be slightly taller than Optimus, as you see here. I have to say these four are some of my best builds to date, not because they're my most recent, but because they're very fun and easy to transform. Of course, at the cost of having very strange looking Cybertronian modes, especially Alita 1. And that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed D-16 or Megatron here. It's finally good to have another Megatron to add to my collection after all these years. And yeah, these two here are edging each other out for my best build of the movie. Prime is definitely much better stability wise and fun, but Megatron looks so much cooler and more detailed. As always, there are instructions on Rebrickable for these two, and I think my Transformers 1 journey is almost at an end. My final two builds will be the upgraded forms of these two characters. For now, I guess. I'm not sure if I'll make any more, but who knows. And here's a little teaser for now. And I'll see you guys then.